The reunion stage had always carried fire, but nothing in all the years of scandals prepared the cast, the crew, or even the loyal fans for the split second when Rasheeda finally lost control and lunged at Yandy. For hours, tension had been simmering. Insults flew like knives, secrets dangled like grenades, and the crowd fed off every spark. But then came that 1 second where the air cracked open. One heartbeat, it was screaming and eye-rolling, the usual storm. The next heartbeat, fists were flying, nails slicing skin, and blood shocked the cameras into silence. Rasheeda, trembling with rage she couldn't cage anymore, crossed the line she had danced around for years. The audience shrieked so loud it echoed through the rafters, security jumped into motion, and the producers froze mid-breath. This wasn't a reunion anymore. This was a collapse, a crown breaking in front of millions. Yandy had leaned back, cool and calm, smirk tugging at her lips, her silence louder than a paragraph of curses. That calmness had been the dagger all night. Every time Rasheeda shouted, every time she pounded her hand on the couch, Yandy's stillness said more, "You don't shake me." And silence, when weaponized, can cut deeper than any words. That composure sent Rasheeda spiraling. She couldn't stand it anymore. Her pride erupted, her hands flew, and in that instant, there was no turning back. Nails scraped flesh, fists connected, and suddenly there was blood glistening under studio lights. Fans in the live audience screamed. Some gasped in horror, others scrambled to record. But nobody laughed. Because this wasn't TV chaos anymore. This was real, raw, and dangerous. Security swarmed. They grabbed Rasheeda, who thrashed like someone fighting for her reputation more than her pride. Her voice cracked with fury as she screamed, she deserved it. She had it coming. The sound was primal, desperate. Across from her, the cameras zoomed in on Yandy, clutching her face, her body trembling in disbelief. The room went eerily quiet. Even Carly Red, who usually thrived on mess, covered her mouth and whispered, "This is too much." Erica Mena, fiery and fearless on any day, had tears welling in her eyes, shouting toward producers, "Shut this down. She's hurt, can't you see she's hurt?" Yet still, the cameras kept rolling. Reality TV has no mercy. It feeds on the destruction it creates, and now it had drawn blood. The producers stood frozen between greed and panic. In their ears, the thought of ratings screamed louder than alarms, but liability screamed louder than money. Should they cut the feed? Should they let it roll? By the time they debated, the shrill of sirens already cut through the Atlanta night. Someone backstage had called an ambulance, and outside the studio, flashing lights painted the crowd in red and blue. The paramedics stormed in with stretchers. Still, the cameras stayed locked, because in this world, blood is the most valuable storyline. Yandy tried to speak. She whispered, I'm fine, but her body betrayed her. Her lips quivered. Her eyes blinked too slow, her hands shook so badly she couldn't even wipe the blood herself. Fans watching through leaked live streams panicked. Within minutes, hashtags ignited. Hashtag Pray for Yandy climbed to #1 before she was even lifted off the stage. Clips of her trembling were replayed in slow motion across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Fans posted crying emojis, prayers, angry captions, "This ain't entertainment. This is assault." Meanwhile, Rasheeda was still being held down. She screamed at the cameras, trying to twist the story, "She's faking. Don't let her play y'all. She ain't hurt." But the words bounced off silence. Nobody believed her. The only image fans carried now was Yandy, strapped to a stretcher, face swollen, body trembling, and the sound of sirens wailing into the night. Backstage was chaos. Scrappy paced like a caged animal, shaking his head, muttering, "This too far, man. This ain't TV no more. This gone too far." Erica Mena, with tears streaming, turned her phone to Instagram Live, her voice breaking as she told viewers, they let it go too far. They let her get hurt for ratings. This ain't entertainment, this is real life. Her words hit social media like a bomb. Fans rallied instantly, echoing her cries with hashtags and angry comments targeting the network. Even Carly, who always thrived in scandal, whispered to producers, "This might kill the show." But the producers, eyes wild with adrenaline, didn't see death. They saw rebirth. Messy, scandalous, bloody rebirth that would grab headlines worldwide. Outside the studio, fans pressed against gates, screaming, "We love you Yandy," as paramedics loaded her into the ambulance. Flashes from hundreds of phones lit up the night. When the doors slammed and the sirens howled away, it wasn't just the end of a taping, it was the beginning of a war. The story had already escaped the studio. It was now in the streets, on the timelines, inside every home. Watching clips spread like wildfire. Inside the ambulance, whispers leaked out. A medic claimed Yandy repeated only one sentence under her breath, "Respect lasts longer than ratings." That line, whether real or just rumor, became a cultural stamp within hours. It hit Twitter captions, TikTok edits, Instagram reels. Fans tattooed it, posted it over black and white edits of her face, and turned her pain into poetry. In that single sentence, she didn't just survive the attack, she transformed into a queen crowned through suffering. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was confined to a cold dressing room, 2 security guards posted at the door. She paced like a caged storm, screaming betrayal at anyone who would listen. "Y'all set me up? Y'all wanted this fight. You protect her while you bury me." Her words cracked against the walls, but nobody inside was moved. Even Kirk, sitting silent in the corner, arms folded, couldn't look at her. His silence was louder than her screams. For years, he had been her weak point, the scandal that never left her, the man she defended through every humiliation. Now, his silence said it all. She had crossed a line even he couldn't shield her from. By midnight, every blog had posted the headline. YouTube thumbnails screamed in capital letters, "Rasheeda attacks Yandy," and "DNA drag turns violent." Instagram flooded with edits of the moment, Rasheeda lunging, Yandy strapped to the stretcher, the crowd gasping. TikTok turned the stretcher moment into a meme of survival, calling her the queen of composure. Twitter was merciless, drowning Rasheeda under hashtags like #RasheedaIsOver, while #PrayForYandy topped global charts. VH1 rushed to issue a statement, calling it an unfortunate incident and promising to address the situation responsibly in the episode. But the fans weren't buying it. They dragged the network harder than ever. "You wanted this for ratings. You watched her bleed for money." Even cast members fed the outrage. Erica Mena screamed on another live, "They wanted this. They wanted blood for views. And now Yandy's in the hospital." Her words became the rallying cry of the night. By dawn, paparazzi camped outside the hospital. Fans lit candles, holding posters that read, "Justice for Yandy." Inside, her family begged for privacy, while producers begged for footage. They wanted every second documented, every tear monetized. But Yandy, even strapped to a hospital bed, refused. She told her team, "No cameras. Not now." That refusal only gave her more power. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was the one holding the crown, and as the first morning light broke over Atlanta, whispers began to spread like smoke. Some claimed Yandy had a concussion. Some said she might sue. Others swore VH1 was preparing to suspend Rasheeda permanently. Nobody knew what was true yet, but one truth echoed everywhere: the reunion had gone too far, and nothing in love and hip-hop would ever be the same again. The morning after the reunion taping, the internet was already ablaze, but inside Atlanta, the fallout was spreading like wildfire no one could contain. Outside the hospital, fans gathered in clusters, chanting Yandy's name, some holding homemade signs, others live-streaming every second as though history itself was unfolding on the pavement. Inside, whispers of her condition shifted with every passing hour. Some said she had a concussion, others claimed broken bones, while a few insiders whispered she was sedated for observation. No official word came from doctors, and that silence only fed speculation. Paparazzi crowded every corner of the hospital lobby, shouting questions at staff, recording blurry clips of stretchers and wheelchairs, desperate to capture even a glimpse of the woman whose pain had become the symbol of the night. On social media, grainy photos allegedly taken by a nurse began circulating, showing Yandy lying in a hospital bed, face swollen but eyes calm. Fans zoomed in and claimed she was smirking, turning that faint expression into yet another viral symbol of survival. Meanwhile, Rasheeda sat trapped in a hotel suite with curtains drawn tight, scrolling through her phone in horror. Every post about her was flooded with clown emojis. Every brand she tagged was getting spammed with "cancel her." Even her boutique's page, once a shrine for loyal supporters, had comment sections overrun with hashtags like #RasheedaIsOver and #QueensDon'T-Swing. Hia Team Bigtia. To stay silent, to let the storm settle, but silence was never her weapon. Against their advice, she went live on Instagram less than 12 hours after the attack. Pacing in circles, her eyes bloodshot, she ranted into the camera. "Don't let them fool y'all. She ain't hurt. She playing victim for sympathy. Yandy been coming for me, disrespecting my family, dragging my marriage, and when I defend myself, suddenly I'm the villain? Nah, I won't let y'all paint me like that." But the comments weren't clapping. They were laughing. Flooded with clown emojis, mocking hashtags. And one line repeated endlessly, "Queens don't beg for crowns." Her live, intended as defense, only fueled the flames back at the hospital. The silence from Yandy's side became her sharpest weapon. She refused to post, refused to speak, refused to give the cameras the content they craved. That silence gave her fans all the space to fill with their voices, and they roared louder than ever. Influencers reposted her stretcher clip with captions like, "Strength in silence." TikTok creators stitched the viral line, "Respect lasts longer than ratings," setting it to music, making edits that spread to millions of screens overnight. Even celebrities outside the love and hip-hop universe weighed in, praising her composure, condemning Rasheeda's violence, and dragging VH1 for allowing it to happen. Each post turned Yandy into a queen without her even lifting a finger. The rest of the cast began to fracture in public. Erica Mena, fiery as always, blasted Rasheeda directly on Instagram Live. Her voice cracked with anger as she said, "This isn't TV anymore. This is a woman in the hospital because another woman couldn't control herself. Rasheeda, you're done. Period. Ain't no excuse. You crossed a line you can't come back from." Carly Red, ever the opportunist, teased that she had receipts coming soon in the form of behind-the-scenes footage. She didn't say what it showed, but her cryptic story fueled speculation that the attack was even worse than what cameras aired. Fans flooded her comments demanding the receipts, and within hours, "Carly got the tape" was trending on Twitter. Even Scrappy, usually comic relief, got serious in his own live session. His tone was grave as he said, "I've been in this game long enough to know when somebody loses it for real. Rasheeda ain't just fighting Yandy. She fighting herself, her man, her own history. And she took it out on the wrong one. That's why this backfired." Fans clipped his words and spread them like gospel, making him the unexpected voice of reason in a sea of chaos. VH1 tried damage control. They released an official statement calling the altercation unfortunate and promising that the reunion would continue with adjustments. But that vague language only angered viewers more. Petition links spread across Twitter and Instagram demanding Rasheeda's removal from the cast, some gathering tens of thousands of signatures in a single day. Hashtags like #ProtectBlackWomen on set gained traction, turning the scandal into a broader cultural conversation. What was supposed to be messy entertainment was now being reframed as negligence, exploitation, and violence hidden behind the excuse of reality TV. Inside her hotel room, Rasheeda doubled down, refusing to admit fault. She leaked screenshots to a gossip blog, claiming they were DMs where Yandy mocked her marriage and laughed at Kirk's scandals. But the so-called receipts backfired instantly. Fans dissected every detail, pointing out mismatched fonts, timestamps that didn't add up, and called them Photoshop desperation. A new hashtag was born within hours, #FakeReceiptsRasheeda. Instead of defending her, it dragged her further into humiliation. Even loyal fans started slipping away, leaving comments like, "This ain't queen behavior," and "Desperation don't look good on you." While Rasheeda spiraled, Kirk remained painfully silent. He didn't defend her, didn't post, didn't even appear in her live. Paparazzi captured him walking alone through a parking garage, head down, face expressionless. That single shot spread across social media with captions like, "The man she ruined her crown for," and "Mute when Yandy dragged him. Mute when Rasheeda fell." His silence became another weapon, painting her as alone, unsupported, and exposed. For years, she had carried him through scandal after scandal. Now, when her career crumbled, he had nothing to offer but silence. By midweek, the hospital lobby was overflowing with fans and press. Some held candles, some held flowers, others carried posters that read, "Justice for Yandy." And then her husband finally stepped forward, addressing the cameras with a voice steady but sharp, "This went too far. My wife came here to work, not to bleed. If the network can't protect her, then we will. Legal options are on the table." That statement detonated across every blog, every headline, every gossip page. Suddenly, the reunion scandal wasn't just about cast members fighting. It had transformed into a looming courtroom battle with millions of dollars on the line. Behind those hospital doors, Yandy finally allowed one brief clip to be recorded. Sitting upright, bruises faint but visible, her voice calm but sharp, she said only, "Respect lasts longer than ratings. And no attack, no hands, no lies can take that away." 15 seconds. That was it. But that short clip dominated every timeline. Fans called it the hospital mic drop. Celebrities reposted it with captions like, "Queen Energy." Activists used it as a rallying cry. Even people who never watched the show reposted her words. That clip didn't just reclaim her power, it cemented her as the queen the people chose. Meanwhile, Rasheeda spiraled deeper. She posted a selfie with the caption, "Still standing, still the queen," but the backlash shredded her. Comments poured in, "Queens don't swing hands." Queen of what? Clown emojis? The harder she fought to defend herself, the more she lost control of the narrative. Even her business started to collapse under the weight of the scandal. Brands quietly distanced themselves, collaborations were pulled, and whispers in Atlanta's circles labeled her radioactive. Her empire, built over years of music, boutiques, and appearances, was crumbling faster than she could post, and the cast was fractured beyond repair. Erica Mena refused to film with her again, telling blogs she was done and that there was no coming back from this. Carly Red teased again that she had behind-the-scenes footage and threatened to release it if VH1 didn't air the fight uncut. Scrappy hinted that producers manipulated the reunion into a setup, saying cast members had warned them tensions were too high. Whispers turned into storms, and suddenly it wasn't just Rasheeda versus Yandy. It was cast versus producers. Truth versus ratings, survival versus sacrifice, through it all. The image that stuck in every fan's mind was Yandy, bruised but calm, delivering her line with lethal precision. Respect lasts longer than ratings. She didn't clap back. She didn't scream, she didn't defend herself with lies. She let her truth roar louder than Rasheeda's rage. And the world listened. By the weekend, the scandal had grown into something no one could contain. Atlanta buzzed like the city itself was trembling, the reunion fight spilling beyond television into headlines, courtrooms, and everyday conversations. Every gossip blog had turned into a battlefield of opinions, every fan account was either praying for Yandy or clowning Rasheeda, and every meme page was pumping out edits of the stretcher moment. The hashtag screamed louder each hour. Hashtag pray for Yandy still held the top spot worldwide. Hashtag cancel Rasheeda climbed right behind it, and a new one, hashtag justice for Yandy, spread across platforms like fire. What was once supposed to be messy entertainment had become a cultural reckoning, a trial of accountability in front of millions. Yandy's release from the hospital was treated like a victory parade. Paparazzi flashes blinded the night sky as she stepped into the lobby with visible bruises but her head held high. Fans outside screamed her name as security pushed them back, while her children clung to her side. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. The image of her walking calmly into a waiting SUV, battered but unbroken, went viral within minutes. Yandy walks out stronger than she walked in became the caption of the weekend, stamped across TikTok edits, Instagram posts, and Twitter memes. That moment alone cemented her as the queen who didn't need to swing hands or scream online. Her silence had become her crown. Meanwhile, Rasheeda spiraled deeper into desperation. Her boutiques, once a staple of her brand, saw promotions flop as every post was flooded with clown emojis and mocking hashtags. Longtime allies whispered she had become radioactive. Still, she refused to bow. She sat down for an exclusive with a messy blogger, crying on camera, claiming she was provoked. They set me up, she insisted. Producers egged me on, Yandy mocked my family, and when I defended myself, they painted me as the villain. But the internet didn't buy it. The top comment under the clip cut her to the bone. Nobody provoked your hands, sis. Instead of sympathy, the tears made her look weaker. And fans turned her breakdown into TikTok stitches captioned, "This ain't queen energy." Kirk, silent as always, became another source of humiliation. Old clips of his past scandals resurfaced, the DNA test drama, the hot tub fiasco, the infamous 3-earring phase, paired with captions like, "This the man she ruined her crown for." Paparazzi photos of him walking alone, head down, circulated with memes like, "Mute when Yandy dragged him, mute when Rasheeda fell." His silence, once seen as detachment, now felt like betrayal. Leaving Rasheeda looking abandoned by the very man she always defended. The legal storm grew louder. Lawyers circled the situation like vultures, fans speculated about lawsuits worth millions, and bloggers claimed depositions were already being prepared. Yandy's team made their position clear. They weren't just considering pressing charges against Rasheeda, but also against VH1 for negligence and failure to protect. Suddenly, this wasn't just about cast drama, it was about corporate accountability. Petitions demanding VH1 fire Rasheeda gathered tens of thousands of signatures. While activists used the scandal to highlight exploitation in reality TV, the fight that started on stage had become a movement far bigger than the franchise. Back at her hotel, Rasheeda refused to disappear. She posted defiantly, "Still standing, still the queen," but the comments shredded her. "Queens don't swing hands." Queen of clown emojis. The harder she pushed, the faster her empire collapsed. Even some of her loyal supporters admitted publicly that they couldn't defend her anymore. Her downfall was happening in real time, her pride fueling every mistake, and yet, whispers of another twist began to rise. Bloggers teased that there was a flash drive, unseen footage of the reunion that showed angles never aired. Some claimed it was in the hands of producers, others whispered Carly Red had it, while a few suggested Rasheeda's camp was hiding it. Whether real or rumor, the internet latched onto the idea, trending, the flash drive bombshell, for days. Fans salivated for what might come next, the mystery hanging in the air like thunder before a storm. As the season wrapped, the cameras caught one last haunting image, Rasheeda walking alone into the Atlanta night, sunglasses covering swollen eyes. Phone pressed to her ear as she muttered, "This ain't the end. They'll see. I'll burn it all down before I let them bury me." Across the city, Yandy sat quietly in her home, her children by her side, her phone buzzing with endless notifications, the world chanting her name. She didn't need to post. She didn't need to fight. The crown was already hers, forged not in ratings but in respect. And as the screen faded to black, one truth was undeniable: the reunion had changed everything, and nothing in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta would ever be the same again.